Welcome back to Uplink, the only place on the internet where you can find out about all the latest gaming news. As always, I am your host, Andrew Hamilton, joined here by my co-host, Roy Ogletree, and we're live from the closet. The game closet, as it is.
You didn't want to do that first take, but that's too funny of a joke.
But yeah, I mean, it's good, you know? If it's good, it's good. If you're good, you're good. We've got a lot to cover in this dimly lit room. We're going to be going over some new announcements from EA about some upcoming game partnerships that they've got going on that are pretty exciting. We're going to talk about a new move for an ex-PlayStation leader. We're going to talk about a YouTuber making a move further into the gaming industry. We'll talk a little bit about Twitch, and then we're going to talk about the big bongo one, the big, you know, it's bulbous, it's bad. It's the GTA 6 leak.
I thought that was all we were talking about. It's all anybody else is talking about.
I mean, we'll get there. And just to be clear, we won't be showing any of that footage. We're not going to support the leakers, but we are going to talk about it.
Pay me, I'll show you the footage.
Pay Royden and he'll show you the footage.
Yep.
But also, that other guy couldn't get paid. I don't know why you would. All right, so first up, EA, surprisingly, a week after the Disney showcase, suddenly announced that they are, in fact, partnering with Marvel on, to start with, an Iron Man narrative-focused single-player game done by EA Motive. This will be the first in a long line of upcoming Marvel projects. I find this super fascinating because aside from Jedi Fallen Order and Star Wars Battlefront 2, eventually, they kind of botched the Star Wars deal.
Licensing, yeah. The problem, they put out a series of really bad games, including the first remake of Battlefield, or
Battlefront was
Battlefront. I keep saying Battlefield.
The first Battlefront was fun and pretty, but it was not all there to start with. And it took about that's DICE. They take about a year to get their game good after they put it out.
Yeah, and then like Rogue Squadron was disappointing. A lot of people like that game, but it was still
Squadrons was good. It was just it was highly niche.
Yeah. I just think they never really fully got on board with what they wanted to do or what their vision maybe was with that Star Wars. And it's tough because you had, like, sorry to EA, one of the biggest gaming companies of all time, or one of the biggest companies of all time, but like
it's pushed around.
It's so bad for them. I feel so bad for them that they fumbled the bag like this. But like it's tough because once you get an exclusive license, like what is the IP that Star Wars is, and you can't capitalize on it, that's a bad look, man.
It's insane because of all of the possibilities that Star Wars games can have. Mm-hmm. Which is why it didn't make sense to put it all at one developer in the first place. But, you know, you look at what they did, and there's some good stuff in there, but there's just like,
if anything,
you didn't make this kind of game? Yeah. You didn't make this? Why didn't you just do this?
I do understand why not EA did it. I don't know why EA did it. I do understand why Lucas did it originally, and if anything, if George Lucas knows anything, it's about trying to keep his lore in the house. Yeah, that's why Dave Filoni is his protege and so on and so forth. And he now runs a lot of stuff with Lucasfilm.
And Disney wanted to have a tightly knit story.
Yeah,
despite not planning out their sequel trilogy, they demanded that all the content be fed into the same story making. So Battlefront 2's campaign was a tie-in to the stuff that was going on in the comics and in the movies.
They wanted it all. It's all one big conglomerate, to be completely honest. Just like how Marvel, they want all under the same umbrella and everything. I get why they did it. It was kind of the problem that Lucas ran into when just anyone could write canon in the Star Wars books and like the novels and stuff like that. It got out of hand. Yeah. So if Star Wars fans are obsessed with one thing, it's that canon, baby. They are.
You got to know what's canon.
Yeah, they are obsessed with what's canon. So I get why they try to keep it under one umbrella, but
the story feels more, fulfilling, I guess, whenever everything takes place in a continuity that you can, because then it's, there's not these one-off things where you're like, oh, that doesn't count. That massive thing that doesn't matter. We decided that one doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter to me, and I don't think it matters to a lot of gamers, but it does matter to Star Wars fans.
Now, the Marvel games have been pretty different, and it's interesting that they chose who they chose to lead this this Iron Man game. They pulled over Olivier Proulx. Sorry, I'm butchering that name for sure. I'll just put it. It's on the screen.
Super French.
Somewhere. It's down there. He was
probably not even French.
He was the lead on Guardians of the Galaxy that Eidos Montreal and Square Enix did. That
we both loved. Yeah,
loved. So I'm happy to see that they're doing that. What's cool about the Marvel games as of recently is that I think a lot of fans out there keep hoping there's going to be an MCU style crossover universe, but what I think they're treating it more like the comics, where you can have these spin-off series or part of the main universe series and stuff, and it tell different unique takes on stuff, and then you leave the door open for someone else to be able to take on that same character, which means that IP gets to live on longer, versus you needing to come to a narrative conclusion eventually. So we know about this Iron Man game coming from EA Motive. We had heard rumors prior, around the same time that this rumor came up, that there was going to be a Black Panther game coming out of EA. I think this will lend some credence to that. So we're likely to see both those games in the next 3 to 4 years. Now, this game is just now starting development. The day that they announced this, they also put up the job listings for this game.
Well, which is weird because I thought hadn't an Iron Man game been in development for a millennia?
There have been several Iron Man games in development across multiple developers. Just recently,
at one point, an open world Iron Man game. Yeah, I remember that being a thing.
We just found out that there was an open world Iron Man game that had been pretty far into development over at Avalanche Studios, who does the Just Cause series, and that Disney just came and scrapped it. Iron Man's one of my favorite characters. I'm super excited to see where they go with it story wise. Motive did Star Wars Squadrons last, so I know that they know how to tell a good story and make fun gameplay. I just hope that it capitalizes on the time that they have, and EA claims they're giving full freedom to their developers. They're not micromanaging this at all.
Yeah, I wonder if that is going to be... Now, it makes sense that Marvel would want to try and get everything under one umbrella because they are obsessed with, not with canon, but with continuity. They are mega obsessed with that. So it has been weird that they haven't.
Yeah,
they've just willy-nilly let their games go out to
and none of it's tied to the MCU.
None of it's tied to it. They don't have any of the...
But with the multiverse, anything can be tied to the MCU.
Yeah,
but saying it is.
They're not super obsessed with other canon unless it's on film or TV.
Yeah.
So
what's been I think the main driving force of them not wanting to have a canon universe or whatever for gaming is the Sony deal with Spider-Man.
Right.
So the Spider-Man games exist in the new Spider-Man PS4 games exist in their universe. And then the upcoming Wolverine game from Insomniac will exist in that universe.
Yeah.
But I don't think Marvel wants to just keep only allowing Sony and PlayStation to make Marvel games. So I think it's a good idea to have these offshoots. And while people like Robbie will talk about, well, why don't they just license out the MCU actors and put them on in the game and make it an MCU game? Money, but also that story's already been told.
Yeah. I will say though, it is an uncanny valley when you see the Avengers game and the dude was Tony Stank or whatever. It's not even Tony Stark.
It's their original versions of the character, but I get people's... When you go for a realistic look for these characters, the first thing you're going to think of is the movies because that's the only realistic take that
we've seen.
Yeah.
And he also embodied that character for 15 years. So, but yeah, it does feel like
I had less of that in
a rage comic, Tony Starr instead of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Guardians thing I got over really quickly, so it doesn't matter.
All right, let's move to the next thing. So we had Sean Layton, previously a member of the upper echelon of Sony. I believe he was the previous president. is onto new things. He's jumped ships over to take up an advisory role at Tencent. We just talked about Tencent a couple weeks ago.
Who I wasn't completely aware of, and then I did some more Googling even today.
Like I said, it's coming at you fast. A lot of people aren't aware of it, and that's what kind of makes it feel weird to me, is how much they own and how much money and wealth they have to throw around.
There's a couple of things with this.
Yeah.
So he joined in an advisory role. This was a story that, like, I'm ready to talk about the rest of the topics, but this is a story that caught me because it just talked itself into a circle.
Mhm.
Because he said that he was burnt out, which he's just like me for real. But like, but yeah, he said he was burnt out with his current role at PlayStation.
Yeah.
Where he was, the president, and then with like creative decisions, and I get it. Like,
and he left in 2019.
Like, more and more CEOs should also step down and let other people do the work. You know, you made your money, you can go on and just keep your, like, more and more people should do that. I feel like it would save the planet anyway. But like,
welcome to Royden's TED Talk.
Right. No, but I think that, yeah, I understand like the burnout, like not enough people talk about that with like these megalomaniac, I'm not saying he is, but major corporate CEOs.
Right.
Regardless, he joins Tencent in an advisory role. What he'll be doing, no idea. But he then later on in the article, it talks about how he was worried about conglomerations taking over gaming. And I'm like,
got some flack.
What are you talking? What are we talking about?
Well, I think that's part of the reason that he's excited about this role versus others. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of money attached to it, but he's the kind of guy who's never really been, at least in outwardly facing, he's never been a guy who's like, I'm not doing that. It's not making enough money, you know? He's always been he's one of the people I genuinely think really, really love like gaming as an industry, not as a commodity. So I feel like he's almost joined up with this more so in a role of, hey, I know that the temptation is to just try to buy your way into the industry via buying massive stakes in all these other companies. And to a certain extent, that'll get you up to a certain point. But people aren't going to associate the name Tencent with anything good,
right?
Until you publish a game yourself with an in-house studio that is, a high quality game that really captures people's attention. It was a big proponent of exclusives on consoles because he felt like the only thing that makes companies different on these consoles is the games that they make.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not making high quality exclusives for your console, then you're just a platform. You're not even a game company. You're just a game owner. You just own part of the industry to own it, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like he's almost kind of going in here to talk more, to steer them in the right direction as they come more and more west with their ideas.
Fair, but we don't know that.
I'm hoping that's based on his personality and what I know about him from having followed his career for a long time. I'm hoping that's where he's heading with this. Now, it's also entirely possible that Sean Layton, like anyone, is
they threw money. It's possible they threw money
to
at
monetary, compensation being too high that he had no, no better way to say no to that, it's going to be interesting watching this go forward.
It's always these things where, I joined an advisory role, and then 5 years later, or not even 5 years later, they're the president of the company.
It wouldn't be surprised. So, I mean, and that's the other side of this. This could also be much in the same way that he became the president of the U.S. Sony stuff. This could be a chance for him to help establish a Tencent of America of sorts, where he ends up in a executive position, helping lead that going forward. Certainly going to be interesting to see how that goes on. I'm always watching out on Tencent because go
look at their Wikipedia page and look and just scroll down to, if you're watching this, pause it, come back, go to Tencent. look at their Wikipedia page, just scroll down to Tencent Games and see how many companies that they have an investor stake in. It was a full page. It's
a spooky amount of, and
they had their own Wikipedia page for Tencent Games.
Yeah, and to see how quickly they just popped up and started that, I mean, it's crazy. I'll say it again.
It's a little predatory.
It's the Chinese government has a hand in all of it, so I'm not saying, but we're gonna watch it. We're gonna keep an eye on it. We're gonna. I can't do anything about it if something goes on.
We can't do it.
I'm gonna let you know that
we're the watchdogs for Tencent.
Speaking of the watchdogs and quality control and new advisory positions, let's talk about one of my favorite people on the platform of YouTube, Videogamedunkey. aka Jason. He and his wife Leah have announced that they are going into indie game publishing with a new company that they are calling Big Mode Games.
I'm subscribed to Dontkey, of course, but like
full disclosure, massive fan of Dontkey.
Yeah, so
I will be defending his honor today.
Yeah, so been subscribed to him, and you kind of not to like call you kind of oversold how many like if people were upset at him or whatever. The comments seem granted it was on his channel.
Yeah, the comments on here are fine, but
positive.
The people I was talking about were like games journalists and stuff, tweeting about and posting articles about. There was
why.
And also some game developers who were like, I don't know. I guess because of he's got a confidence to him, whenever he's doing the character of Dontkey that can come across as a little cocky. That's intentional.
Yeah.
But I don't think he took that into account as much when making this video and talking about, how good he is at
finding good games,
what the best games are.
Yeah.
But I think his point was less about, being the best gamer out, the realest, most best gamer out there, which, I mean, of course, Dontkey will say that he is, but it's about the fact that over the last few years, he's really discovered more and more different types of games that he normally wouldn't have covered. And he's really leaned into the indie scene a lot. And while he's seen trends appear and go stale very quickly in AAA development, he's hoping that his experience playing so many games for so long and having such, because if you watch any of Dontkey's videos, the man does his research. He dives deep into these games. He goes into their history. He learns about the games on more than just I play them level. He's very passionate about all of it, and I think that's kind of was more his point, was that he's hoping to highlight games that he thinks are worth publishing and help them get funding and published. Now, the criticism for this is coming from people who are saying, well, Dontkey, you've never made a game.
That feels weird.
But also, guys, go find out who is the head of any of the publishers out there. Most of them aren't game developers. Most of them don't game. There's a good chunk of them that just have business degrees. I hate to tell you this, but that's not a requirement for publishing games.
No. Money is.
I will say that there were fair criticisms out there of this announcement because, on one hand, he is a YouTuber. He's a personality. He mentioned that he wants this to be almost an extension of his channel, which is, he's since kind of clarified that he meant an extension of his brand in a way that would allow his audience to be included in as like a guaranteed audience for games that go through their publishing label, which is how I interpreted it, but apparently a lot of other people interpreted that as he was just wanting to make games that are fun to stream.
Well, he doesn't even stream that many games. He doesn't even stream that many games.
No, and his videos, like I said, they're more editorial essays now than like just uploading daily gameplays and stuff.
Right.
I
walk playthroughs.
I think there's been a lot of unfair criticism pointed in his direction. I mean, this is a new thing. He's gonna struggle. He's gonna stumble and fall a little bit to start with. He and Leah do not have experience with publishing. I don't know what they know. My thing is, dude, this isn't a spur of the moment kind of thing. You don't just, hey, do you want to start publishing indie games with me?
Yeah, sure.
We'll just make a website right now.
Absolutely.
We'll start it today. Do you
have any money?
No.
Me either.
We'll just invest in us.
Yes.
And then like a cryptocurrency wallet. Um,
We're gonna sell NFTs.
Yeah, we've sold out. Come full circle and sold out
very quickly. I'll sell out so quick it'll make your head spin.
Before we even hit the 1 year mark. Yeah, I mean it's new. They're clearly have been planning this for a while. He said it's been in the making for quite some time. I think they've done their research. If anything, they will learn on the fly. But I think that what they're trying to do as consultants to these indie games is, he's right. While I think everyone should have the opportunity to be creative and do what they love and make games, there is a lot of shovelware. Again, pause this video. Go to the Nintendo eShop or the PlayStation Store and just look at new releases. Did you see it? Did you see all the garbage? There's a lot of garbage on there. There's a lot of very quickly put together garbage. It's still technically games, still technically game development, but it's also technically an indie game. And you see the problem with associating those things, because you got things like Journey and Inside and all these like Celeste, all these fantastic indie games that are made every year. And yet there are people out there who still only associate indie with garbage. I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to help weed out some of that shovelware to only find the games that he would personally buy.
It is me, big AAA game player, to be completely honest. But
that's fair.
But if anything, guy has 7 million followers on YouTube, very popular. 7.22.
Yeah.
So so he already has a built-in audience. How in other forms of media they've tried to like see how YouTube following translates to sales of anything.
Yeah.
Not saying that that's what they're trying to do here, but I am saying that with this, it seems like based on the video that it will help put people, connect other people. It's like it feels like a LinkedIn for talented gaming developers or whatever.
Yeah,
because he was like, hey, if you know how to code, if you're a composer or whatever, like give us your resume. So yeah, I think that's just another place for people to get their art seen, and as much of that space that we can curate is better for people.
Yeah, well, they're going full publishing label. I think that's the biggest thing for me, is that there are games that would get passed over, or that would have to do like a Kickstarter to get funded or whatever. If he's got the money and investment to back this and has figured out how to properly publish these titles for those types of games, more power to him. At the very least, I gotta agree with Dontkey. The man does know what's good. I have bought games off his recommendation alone because he was so convincing in the way that he talks. I mean, if you don't like Mario, go watch any of this man's videos on Mario. You will suddenly feel the urge to play a Mario game.
All those people out there that don't like Mario.
There are people out there.
There's so many people.
There's a lot of them out there. You'd be surprised. There's a lot of people out there who qualify the Mario games as children's games only, and that's not how Dontkey views it. Anyway,
next topic.
We'll move to the next thing. But hey, get back to me, Dontkey and Lee. I want to do this interview. Twitch is in the headlines once again.
Story is awesome.
First for controversy.
It's so stupid.
It's very silly. There's been an uptick in real stupid stuff going on Twitch, like streaming of heavily gambling based games and taking advantage of children and patrons alike. Twitch has officially banned all unlicensed streaming of any kind of gambling content. Good.
Unlicensed being the key phrase here, because poker and sports and stuff is still there.
Yeah. And you wouldn't want to not be able to have people live, vote for stuff using subscriptions and stuff.
Right.
You know? That would qualify as a form of gambling.
Right. No, I understand what they were going for here because, you know, it was one Twitch streamer that really set off the alarm that on the that I was reading on the NPR article about this. Set off the alarm when he scammed like $200,000 off of people. Like Pokemon came out against it and everything like that, and so that set off sort of like this red flag. And I forget what it was like. Crisis. It wasn't Crisis. It was. He said he got addicted by playing. Crap. Sorry. This is great radio, but
I can't remember.
No. So he said he got addicted by playing like a first person shooter to gambling, which is really crazy. But so I get why
Counter-Strike?
Counter-Strike, yes.
Yeah,
which isn't a first-person shooter. Or is it? Yeah. Counter-Strike. But so he said he got addicted by playing Counter-Strike, which is an interesting thing to say. But then he scammed people like playing this roulette thing, like $200,000. Regardless, I get why that you would want to ban some things like that. One, to protect children, which is like the main goal of this whole thing, but two, it's like
just predatory to start with.
Yeah, there's a couple of things it feels like with the roulettes and the slots and everything else. It feels like it can be hacked, but two, that even if it wasn't, it's so based on chance.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
I mean, it just straight up is gambling, and you know. That kind of content, as Twitch has been a place, much like YouTube, that has had to deal with the consequences of the actions of the users way more than I feel like they ever intended or ever imagined that they would have to. Because, you know, you look at some of the things that they've had to regulate, and they're just like, all right, well, obviously you're not allowed to illegally stream you watching a movie here as a workaround, or
a fight.
You guys, you can't just mirror a pay-per-view fight and then put yourself in front of it and then hold a controller and say you're playing the latest UFC game. Like the amount of things that they've had to like go through and regulate because of the way users are using the platform it's a little funny, but it's also.
Yeah, I just find it weird that when Twitch is like, guys, we can't be doing this. They come out.
Yeah, and then everyone's like, oh, I didn't even know that was going on.
Yeah.
And then the people who were doing it are like, yeah, obviously I wouldn't.
Well, yeah, it's funny because I had no idea that this was even a problem. And then I saw the news article.
Very small amount of time on Twitch, you guys.
Yeah, and then you realize how many people are actually on Twitch and how much money is on Twitch.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
An insane amount of money.
I mean, it's made people millionaires in real time, but like it just is crazy that how far it seems to be removed from the zeitgeist, but even so, it's still popular. Like it got mega big in like, I don't know, 2018, 2019.
No, it was before that. It was like 2015 that Twitch started to take off. Fortnite definitely launched the full career of current day
like streamers.
Twitch, but
but saying all this, I don't know, just saying all this to say we're gonna get rid of roulette and slots and everything else, but you can still play online poker because there's rules for that, right?
And then they were also like right after that, they're like, and you know, we're gonna scale back the revenue share for Twitch streamers now. You know, because apparently some of those gambling streamers and you know, a few of the bigger name streamers were getting like a 70-30 split.
On those websites?
No, on Twitch.
From Twitch.
About, you know, revenue stream wise. And they're like, they've always said that it's a 50-50 split. So they're like, oh, no, we're going back to 50-50. We're scaling back on those kinds of deals. Like, wasn't it always 50-50? Shouldn't it for everyone? But that was apparently not the case. That was a lesser deal. Look, Twitch is going to continue to evolve and do this kind of stuff where they have to regulate. The largest gaming leak in history. Last week, you actually brought this to my attention before I even saw it.
Woke up, it was the first thing on my Twitter timeline.
A hacker got 90 plus minutes of GTA 6 footage and leaked it all over the internet.
Apparently, it was due to some of the a massive breach in Rockstar's Slack, which is so 2022. If I've ever that's just, hey man, can you check this out for me?
Oh, well, dude, man, what sucks about this whole situation? For one, my condolences to everyone at Rockstar who has been working their butts off on a game series notoriously mostly played by some of the worst
people on Earth.
Yep. And I'm one of them.
Oh, it is me, a bad person, and I will be playing GTA 6 the first day it comes out.
Yeah, for sure. And, it sucks to have your work spoiled ahead of time, especially when people don't understand what game development even should look like. But they just moved to the ability to work from home for a lot of these employees. And this is going to call into question whether or not that's a good practice because of the possibility of liability. It's not a secure network. The communication is not all happening internally in the building on a network that they have full control over. So this could lead to problems for their jobs going forward. It could be problematic for the game going forward. It sucks to have your work shown this early because for those out there who don't know game development, this looks like a bad thing. But again, we're not going to show the footage.
The first response on the tweet was why it looked like that. And you're just like, what are you talking about? What do you mean, why does it look like that?
Which, let me be clear. I'm not a game developer. But what I do know is that for early gameplay, not bad.
No, if you have seen it, which hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people saw it.
And again, we're not gonna show it though.
Find my Venmo and I'll send it to you. But
cash at me.
It looked like they were already far along, which is something after they announced a couple of months ago that they were
production started on this year.
Yeah, which Rockstar's notorious for being notorious for being one of the more secretive gaming companies. We didn't know that Red Dead Redemption 2 was even a thing until they dropped a map. Yeah. And they're like, hey, look what we may be working on. And it's already done.
Long time to get a trailer and even longer to get a second trailer. Yeah, they are very close to the chest, but this sucks. There will be repercussions. The guy wanted to get paid for it. Not going to happen.
I'm sure that the studio that brought you the highest selling piece of media of all time has pretty good lawyers.
Yeah, you're not getting away with this. I'm not sorry. You're not getting away with this. But
Grand Theft Auto 5 made $6 billion, by the way.
Grand Theft Auto 5 was the best-selling game in the UK last month.
It's a game that came out in 2013, folks.
It's had 3 generations of consoles for one GTA. Insanity.
Yeah.
But this did bring to light another issue, and one that I kind of take a much larger issue with, and that is that most of you don't know jack diddly squat about game development.
There isn't enough patience, one, with gamers, but two, we aren't smart.
Yeah, well, I don't even think that's the case. I think it's more that, game development hasn't seen nearly the level of
transparency.
Not transparency necessarily, but it's a bonus feature on DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff for you to get to see the behind the scenes stuff. The VFX studios only do the VFX, so they put out VFX reels showing the breakdown of how VFX they made certain effects. but it's all done internally in one studio. So you don't get to see the behind the scenes. So, if you guys take a look at this, I'm going to be showing this is early gameplay from Control. One of the biggest things that, or not biggest things, but one of the dumbest things to be said during this whole fiasco was a dude on Twitter and on YouTube who said, if you know anything about game design, then you know that the first thing done is graphics. I want you to look at this game and tell me that the first thing done was their graphics. That's not even the same character model that's in the final game.
Hey man, anything in a video game is graphics. I didn't know if you knew this. I'm smart.
I know
I'm
that
smart.
You know
Anything is graphics. Everything in a video game is graphics. Yeah, I'm the smart one.
Listen here, you smart ass. There's this fundamental misunderstanding about how games are made, because a lot of the times these, especially when you look at like the trailers for things like the Unreal Engine 5 demos and stuff, where there's an ability to just create using pre-rendered assets to make a world, and you can do it fairly easily. But dude, if you're building something original from the ground up with unique elements and a completely, custom design control layout, like you have to when you're trying to publish a game for real, it's not a drag and drop Lego brick simulator. Like it takes hard work. It takes hundreds of people. This footage from Control is from pretty early in development, and it was impressive how far along they were. But this was their custom engine that they used, a custom Unreal Engine modification that they used for this. They had to, go through and do, these are hand animated things. They haven't done any of the mocap stuff yet. It's a lot of real cool, in-depth looking world, but it's still not done. Yeah. I think a better example even than this one is the example of what blocking out a scene looks like.
Right, yeah, so, and he posted this years ago, and this just kind of got researched, like 2017 this is for Uncharted.
This is the downhill scene for Uncharted 4, showing how they blocked out the environments and stuff, and you can see the levels, the stages of how the game is made. From concept to finish, there is so much that has to go into it. And this is just a playable version of that. But everything in the game has to have
I still don't know how they do it.
It doesn't just go. You don't just build a car and then it knows how to drive.
Yeah.
You have to build a car model and then make the wheels move and then give it a way to have gas and go forward and give it physics and motion. It's not this super easy to plug in and go thing. And I look, I'm a firm believer that
the funniest, go ahead, sorry.
Let's talk about.
Well, the funniest one to me is this Horizon Zero Dawn, which I had actually, this is one of the first ones that I had ever watched because I got so into Horizon Zero Dawn. I watched this.
I love this.
Several years ago. They're using the they're using the what was the game that Guerrilla Games made?
It's Killzone.
Yeah, they're using the Killzone character model in this. Mm-hmm. to build out this game, and
this was years before
this was 2013. No, 2011.
It was 2011 whenever they started prototyping Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, game didn't come out till 2017,
and you can feel that it's 2011 in this clip, but it's the amount of unique detail that has to go into game design versus other mediums, and this is why I've always said that it's the most complex art medium in.
They just turned into a bazooka off of it.
I love that. And look, honestly, I'd play the game like this too.
Yeah, why not?
Give me the Lego bricks version. But it's the most complex medium out there because it's the only medium that incorporates everything and gives interactivity to the world.
Yeah, so going on Discord or going on whatever and then saying like, oh, this looks like a piece of crap
awesome
is weird because you know that it's not done. Everybody that saw it knew it wasn't done.
And also, you can't be like, if you knew anything about game design on a platform that is definitely full of people who do game design for a living, you are gonna get smacked down, my guy. But, man, I want this to become a more regular conversation, and I'm hoping if you guys know of any game developers or anyone that you are maybe in contact with that does game development, or you yourself are working in game development, and you want to have a conversation and help me educate the masses, please reach out to me. I've reached out to a whole bunch of people today already. I'm trying to get together a new series of videos where we talk about the stages of game development, because I think it's important that you understand how the thing you love is made.
I just want the thing that I like.
Shut your goddamn face.
I want the thing that I like in front of me now.
Yeah.
And I want to play it. I want to pay $75 for it. I want to play it now.
It's not worth $75, honey. I beat the whole damn thing.
Yeah, I can't believe they're going to charge me $75 for
not my fault.
GTA
it cost
6.
them $6.8 million to build this game. Yeah,
they have Rockstar has the money. Yeah, we just talked about it. Rockstar has the money.
The cost of making games is so exponential, but the human cost on the other side of that has just also increased exponentially. And I do think that, if you love games like I love games, and like Royden loves games, please do yourself a favor. Go find this kind of footage. Learn about how the games you love are made, because it will give you a much greater appreciation.
She's riding a horse in Horizon Zero Dawn. This looks like Tangled.
Yeah, but look at all that.
Where it could possibly walk. And
it's charting a path along its own course in real time. Guys, games are actual magic. That the fact that we have any video games freaking ever is insane. I just want you guys to know that it's okay to want to play the cool thing now. But you got to remember that there's human beings on the other side of that cool thing. Take some time, learn about what they're making, learn about what the thing you're doing is, so that you know that you need to have some patience going forward.
Also, don't leak stuff.
Yeah, and don't leak anything. If you get information that's, private about a game, don't leak it. Because even just telling, even if I were just to tell Royden that I know what the next Assassin's Creed game is and it's called this and it's about this, I've destroyed someone's entire career whose job it is to make the reveal trailer and all the promotional material around that reveal.
So, no. Yeah, don't leak stuff. It's fine. Yeah. You'll be fine.
I mean, that's all I really got to say about it right now. I'm hoping to hear back from some of the game developers I reached out to and bring you guys more in-depth conversation about game design, but don't leak this stuff, guys.
But also, if you do, send it to me so I can get money for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna leak stuff, send it to Royden first, so that it can air on Hardwired exclusively, because I will pay him, obviously. Point is, GTA 6 is gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I'm excited about it. You're excited about it. But I didn't need to see it this soon. Game developers, don't show me your game until you're ready to show me your game. People, don't leak their games till they're ready to show me their games. If you like to know about how games are made, and that's something you're interested in, leave a comment in the comments section below, and also leave a like on this video, and keep a close eye on this channel as more and more content's coming your way for all the latest gaming news, reviews, previews. Subscribe to Hardwired. We'll catch you guys next time.
Later.